Oh, hi there. Ollie Anderson here. As you can see, I'm sitting in my car and it's raining outside. Allow me to show you the rain as evidence. Quite disgraceful, but we are in England, or I am. And I wanted to come out and make a video because I haven't made one for a while. We're going to talk about the repeating patterns in our lives. Like basically there are certain patterns that repeat in our lives over and over again. And sometimes we ignore them because they're like wishful thinking or whatever else. And it just makes life more difficult than it needs to be. So I want to talk about what these repeating patterns can be, like give some examples, give some awareness about why it's important to listen to them instead of getting all caught up in our ego bullshit and just avoiding them. And then tell you what to do about them. So let's go out there in the rain and see what happens. So before we get into it, there's a rainbow. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Here's a tree with a little bird flying around. Marvelous. But anyway, the kind of patterns I'm talking about are where reality keeps giving you like certain signals, keeps giving you certain information that will help you if you accept it. But for whatever reason, you just don't want to accept it. Normally because you have some kind of wishful thinking thing going on. Like you wish that reality was other than what it was. And so you're in denial. You have some shadow stuff going on. The other thing is, sometimes your ego has a self-image that you are attached to, again because of the shadow shit. And so you just avoid facing facts, which is never a good thing. Because if you avoid facing facts, then you just end up living in a kind of fiction. And if you live in a kind of fiction, well, you're going to have a bad time. Another repeating pattern might be that you know somebody and they have all kinds of like emotional and psychological bullshit. They play games, they talk over you, whatever it is. They have some kind of personality defect that is constantly showing up and making you feel like you're going crazy. But still, every time you go and see them, there's a little part of you that just hopes and prays that today is going to be the day where they've had an epic realization, they become enlightened, and that's not going to happen. And then you go see them, and of course, what do you find? The same old bullshit. And then you kick yourself because you just got in the same situation that you always get in with this person, and you're just wondering why you have put yourself in the same pile of shit that you always put yourself in when you didn't really need to. So here I find myself now on the edge of a precipice. There's some dramatic rocks to prove that. The rainbow is kind of there, very subtly, but I don't think it's showing up on the camera. But you never know, by some miracle it might. But anyway, the kind of repeating patterns I'm talking about are where life keeps showing you something, but you kind of don't want to accept it. An example from my life recently is I have to have an appointment I have to attend, and whenever I go to this appointment, they're always late. Like I can guarantee pretty much that when I go there, I'm going to be waiting around. And so instead of going later, sometimes I fall into the wishful thinking trap where I think, okay, I'm going to go early and today will be the day where they're going to let me in. They're going to see me on time. I'm not going to sit there like a piece of furniture or a mannequin just staring at the walls and cursing existence. They're going to see me. And then of course I go there and that never happens. Like it's always the same thing. They just make me wait. Then I kick myself. And it's because I haven't accepted the repeating pattern that reality keeps showing me. So there's a crow over here. I'm going to see how close I can get to this crow before he flies away. Oh, there it goes. I've always had this this dream of befriending the crows. But every time I approach them, they fly away and I become disappointed. Again, it's another example of one of those repeating patterns, because I should expect a crow to do that. But there's always a little part of me that wishes I was special enough to communicate with the animals, crows in this case, in a different way. Basically, I'm asking reality to be something other than what it is. Standing by this berry tree now, seems aesthetic. Like a lot of the time, these repeating patterns are within us. Like you might spot these patterns in yourself, Like, you keep telling yourself that you want to do something, lose weight, start a business, stop buying certain things that you don't need, whatever it is, but then you keep doing it anyway. And then you question your own sanity because your conscious mind seems like everything makes sense. You've got a sense of what you want, but then there's something deeper going on, something unconscious that's stopping you from being who you want to be. Now I find myself walking through this beautiful field of heather. There's a huge puddle. It's probably a metaphor for the unconscious soup that we keep putting ourselves in when we don't pay attention to these patterns. We're just blindly walking through a swamp, and that swamp is within us. So if we keep ignoring these patterns, then there must be a reason for it. And really, there's only two, maybe three. The first one is that it's just wishful thinking. Like, we're not ready to face reality, and so we just keep wishfully thinking that it's going to be different, no matter how many times we keep hitting the same wall. The problem, of course, is the wall always wins. That's how reality goes. It's not going anywhere. And so we have to ask ourselves, why are we wishfully thinking? And it's usually because there's something about reality that we find difficult, and so we're trying to wish it away. But you can't do that. All you can really do instead is face yourself, which means embracing the pattern and the questions that it's going to cause you to ask yourself that are going to allow you to heal and grow. The second thing is kind of similar, but it's basically that our ego, the image that we carry of ourselves and what we want life to be, is totally misaligned with whatever the repeating pattern is showing us. So for example, in that case of the person who has always been toxic or whatever it is, always talking over us, we just actually don't want to believe that somebody would see us like that because of their own stuff. And so we ignore the lesson instead of embracing it and then doing something about it. It's our image of ourselves that actually needs to change, not reality, because reality never really changes. Now I find myself casually posing between these majestic rocks, and the reason I'm doing that is so I can sit and tell you that there is a third reason, but it kind of brings all the reasons together. And it's the only reason we ever deny reality, which is that we have unresolved emotional stuff, normally shame, guilt and trauma, that we're not ready to face yet. And there is something about reality, which the repeating patterns always show us, that is potentially going to trigger that stuff. And in the short term, it's going to suck. This is why I like to say that the truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off and make you miserable. And it's not the truth that's actually upsetting you. It's having to let go of the illusions, including the ego, which is just a big bunch of illusions, a judgment against the self and life. Letting go of all that stuff sucks because you become dependent on it and you think you need it. But when you do let go of it, by embracing the pattern and taking the lesson, then things will get better. It's about short-term discomfort versus long-term growth. And if you want to grow and stay real and stay in the flow and build momentum, blah, 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 then the only way forward, really, face reality and then work with it, not against it. So what are you supposed to do if you notice these patterns in your life? Well, it's always the same thing. When I'm working with my clients, awareness, acceptance, and action. Awareness is obvious. You have to become aware of the pattern. Like, if you're not aware of it, because you're in denial or whatever, then obviously you're not going to get very far. So the first step is to figure out the patterns. You can journal, just think about it, whatever. But what keeps repeating itself in your life? The second thing is to just accept it. If it's real, it's not going anywhere. So you might as well just embrace the fact that it is what it is in this case. And then the third step is the action, which means actually doing something about it. Adapting your behavior, changing your expectations, putting yourself on a real path instead of an unreal one. Here I am in the ferns. I always had a thing for ferns. They're just so green. Once you've accepted and then adapted, you're going to save yourself a whole bunch of misery. Because when you don't accept reality, you just bring friction, which turns to frustration, and then misery, because you're removing yourself from the way that things are and just creating all kinds of tension in your life. If you want to release it, then you just have to accept that it is what it is. It do be how it do be. and that the only way forward is to see what's actually holding you back from facing the truth. So that was a video about those infuriating repetitive patterns. Sometimes we have to just embrace that life is life. It is what it is. But if you do that and accept and embrace and adapt, then life can still be amazing. We just got to keep learning. So I hope that helped you. It stopped raining. It's still kind of miserable, but not quite as miserable. It's a glorious day here on planet Earth. There's the sun. I don't know if it shows up, but trust me, big ball of fire in the sky. If anyone wants to talk to me, you can book a call on my website, ollieanderson.co.uk/talk. Free coaching call, no sales, blah, 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 whatever you want to call it. But yeah, stay real out there. Keep embracing, accepting, adapting, and peace to you.